Live 25. This is a mad one, people. This one is mad. You seen the thumbnail, you seen the title, you clicked it, you know what it is, basically. And before I went and looked at this for myself, someone sent it to me. I was like, nah, you're capping. It must be cap. It must be cap. That's the only conclusion I could draw. Went and looked for myself. Boy, ain't cap, you know. It ain't cap. It's mad. All right, watch it. Let me set a bit of context for you. First and foremost, let me start by saying I'm not here to disrespect anybody's religion, anybody's religious beliefs. I also want to point out that I'm not a biblical scholar. Many things I know quite a lot about, but I'm not claiming to be a biblical scholar. And any interpretations of biblical text or anything like that isn't my own. Yeah, I'm just going off of what I information that is publicly available, basically, and I'm just repeating that. So I don't have any personal views or any personal agenda, and I'm not setting out to offend anyone based on their beliefs or anything like that. So let's get that one out of the way. Yeah. And anyone who does have more context or more understanding, feel free to drop a comment. Like, you can, if I'm steering off course, you can correct me, you can add to the conversation and let me know what it is. But I just want to share what I've seen and what's been shared with me. Right. So we're talking about the brand that I won't mention the name of, and I'm gonna explain to you why by the end of this video. But it's the brand that had a campaign a week or two ago depicting children in not so glamorous settings. How can I put it? I don't even want to talk about it. It's crazy, it's sick, it's nasty. Like, I'm not on it, but you know what we're talking about, so we ain't got to even repeat that. It's that brand. And basically, I want to set some context for you. I want to give you the background as to what it is I'm talking about. So we need to rewind and revisit the Old Testament, right? So in the Old Testament, there's a story about the prophet Elijah. And the prophet Elijah follows the God Yahweh, who he claims Yahweh is the one true God. And then at the time, King Ahab of Israel is allowing the idolization of other gods, namely, in this case, Baal, in the context of this story. So the prophet Elijah and King Ahab had a bit of a discrepancy, had a bit of a dispute over this. So they sort of set up a challenge where they could say, right, I can prove that my God is the real God, and the prophets of Baal can prove that their God is the real God. So what they've done, they went up to Mount Carmel, and they offered, Mount Carmel even, and they went and they offered a sacrifice of a bull. So they put a bull each on the altar, and they said, right, let me pray to our gods, respective gods, and whichever God can light that altar where the sacrifice lays on fire, that proves that they're the true God, they're the most powerful God, as the story goes. So they were there for some time and they were praying, and lo and behold, Yahweh, who was the prophet Elijah's God, so to speak, lit the altar on fire and accepted the sacrifice first. So off the back of that, the prophets of Baal and those who worship Baal were rounded up, and they were seized, and they were slaughtered, they were killed. I've heard that story before somewhere, can't think where. That's how it went, right? And off the back of that, Jezebel, who was King Ahab's wife, who was also a follower of the god Baal, wasn't too happy with Prophet Elijah, and put a hit out on him, basically put a bag on his head and said, yeah, like, you can't come around here, you can't stay around here trying to dismiss my God and all that. So he was basically banished or took himself into the wilderness to escape being murdered himself. And so that story goes on, but we'll leave it there for the context of this. So we're talking about the god Baal, right? So now you've set the context, I want to show you something that I found on Google on a website, and I wasn't digging. It was just like basic public information that I found on Google. Like, anyone can go and find it. There are similar articles spread all over the internet, so it's not like some hidden mad conspiracy theory website or anything deep like that. It's just an interpretation by some people of the biblical text. Again, not my personal interpretation. I'm not good with it like that. When I get my knowledge up and when I go and do more reading, then we can come back with another video and I can give more of my opinion and my breakdown. But right now, this is just an interpretation of what someone else who's, I'm assuming, is more informed than me, gave of the situation. So I've highlighted the text here up on the screen, and it basically just starts with the god or gods called Baal normally required the sacrifice of children, often the firstborn male child, by sacrifice by fire. And then it goes on to say it's been suggested that the famous story of Abraham's sacrifice of his son Isaac, when God told Abraham to sacrifice his son and then forbade the sacrifice at the last moment, was told to the ancients as a dramatic and instructive narrative which commanded the Hebrews not to follow the pagan cults of the land. Let's cast our mind back to the brand whose name I won't mention, and we're talking about the sacrifice of children, at the hands of the god Baal, allegedly. We're going to start connecting the dots by the end of this video. Let me show you another website that I found, again, randomly, wasn't digging too hard, just popped up. It says, others, however, equate child sacrifice with the worship of Baal or idols and deny that Yahweh was ever linked with such offerings, even by bad Yahwists. So there was a sort of argument here around whether or not the interpretation of the Old Testament suggests that Yahweh instructed or allowed child sacrifice or not. And then the flip side of that argument is no, Yahweh did not instruct that at all. And child sacrifice is associated with the worship of Baal or idols or false gods instead. So that's basically the story. All right, so here's the bit you've been waiting for. Here's the bombshell. This is why you click the thumbnail, Paul. Right, watch this. I'm going to do this live for you now, right? So we're on Google Translate. This is not Photoshop. I'm not editing nothing. I'm just doing it live. I'm typing it in as we go, right? So Google Translate. The language is set to Latin and the translation is set to English. So watch this. This is the brand that I will not name. Okay, cool. Now watch this. You see that shit, people? I just done that live. No cap, no Photoshop, no editing. Like, you can go and do it yourselves right now. I didn't believe it when I first heard it. I was like, nah, that's not right. That's not, you know what I mean? It's clickbait. Go and do it yourself right now. Drop a comment. If it works for you, if you see what I'm seeing, drop a comment, let me know. But the reason I won't name the brand is because I don't know, by putting that statement on my shirt or my top or my shoes or my bag or whatever the case may be, I may be announcing what it says on the right hand side, the translation there. And if you're anything like me, I believe in the power of words. And if you say something out loud, you're basically bringing that energy into the universe. And I ain't here to try and announce, with this being known, I ain't trying to announce something that I don't fully understand and I don't feel like, it's possibly not. Do you know what I mean? If those interpretations of the Old Testament are accurate, then I'm saying something that I don't want to be saying and I don't want to be associated with at the end of the day. So if you're wearing this brand yourself, you might be doing the same thing. But yeah, my mind is blown. Don't know about you people, it's mad. Go do it for yourself if you want to. Boy, mad. We're out.